This is Amud Yomi Gemara Shabbos, Daf Beis Amud Aleph B'siyata Dishmaya. We embark on another incredible Masechta, and as always, we always begin with the same tefillah, that B'siyata Dishmaya, with Hashem's help, the same enthusiasm, fire, vigor, desire to understand, to learn, to chazer, that we have whenever we start a Daf Beis, should carry us through the entire Perek, the entire Masechta, and ultimately B'siyata Dishmaya, Masechta after Masechta, as we learn the Heilige Torah B'siyata Dishmaya. We pick it up at Beis Amud Aleph, Shabbos, the Mishnah. The Mishnah teaches us Yitzios HaShabbos Shtayin Shehein Arba, and that first word Yitzios, that means, as the Tab Rashi points out, this is Haitzah. This is carrying. This is the malacha of transporting, of carrying from one rishos to the next rishos on Shabbos. A place without an Erev, you're not allowed to carry. Yitzios HaShabbos, the cases of carrying on Shabbos. As Rashi in the second Rashi points out, that we're going to have to wait all the way until Tav Sadi Vov, that we're going to learn the Makar, Vayetze, Moshe, Ve'aviru, Kol, B'machaneh. A few weeks time, Parashiyos, Moshe Rabbeinu tells Klal Yisrael that if you bring the materials for the Mishkan, Al Tafiku, Loi Tafiku, says Rashi, Mershus HaYochid, Lershus HaRabim, to bring a Nedava, Lemachaneh, Levia, B'yoyim HaShabbos, it was. Says the Moshe Rabbeinu, don't bring the materials. And in truth, incredible Siyata Dishmaya, we're sitting, as we begin Parshas Tetzaveh, smack in middle of the building of the Mishkan, and that is the Makar, for Nata to carry. So Yitzios HaShabbos, the Yisurim of carrying on Shabbos, is Shtayim Shehin Arba, is two cases, which is for Bifnim, inside, and Shtayim Shein Arba Bachotz, and two which is for outside. Before, let's let the Mishnah explain. Says the Mishnah, Keitzad, what's the case? Ha'ani Oimid Bachotz, and it's an ani standing outside, and it has nothing to do with the fact that he's an ani. We just chose ani and Balabayis. The Balabayis is going to be sitting inside. The ani is going to be outside, just to make it easier to depict the case. So we have an ani that's standing outside, u'balabais bifnim, and the balabais is inside. Pashat ani as yadai lifnim, the ani sticks his hand inside. Vinasan, and the ani places litoich yadai shel balabais, into the hands of the balabais. So again, I'm standing here, I pick up an item, I stick my hand inside and I put it down. Or, case number two, Shenotal mitoicha, the ani puts an empty hand in, takes from the Balabayis v'haitzia, brings it outside. In those two scenarios, ha'ani chayiv, the ani is obligated. Why? Because he did two parts of this melacha of ha'itzah, of carrying, of transporting. He did an akira, he uprooted, he lifted the item, and then he placed it in a different rishos. He was standing outside, he lifted the item from outside, put his hand inside and dropped it, or picked up an item from inside and pulled it outside and had it in his possession. In both scenarios, he did both halves of the malacha. Therefore, he is chayiv. Rashi, about 6 lines down, teaches us we can't begin Masechah Shabbos without knowing the severity of Shabbos. Says Rashi, on these two, you're chayiv chatos for a shoygeg. If it was b'mezid, you're chayiv kares. And if there was hasra, you get the worst of the Dalin Misai Skila. More chomer than Eishes Ish, more chomer than Arayis. Hashem Yerachem. Chil Shabbos, we throw you off a cliff, is Skila. So's the two cases of the Ani Bachutz outside, and in these cases, the Balabais is Potter. Next case is in the Mishnah. Same thing in the flip. Pasha Balabais is Yadav Lachutz. Balabais is inside, and he sticks his hand Lachutz outside. V'nasla Tachel Shalani, and he drops the item. Oy or Shenatal Mitech. He takes it on his hand Vechlis and brings it inside. And these two cases, Balabais Chayav Ani Potter. So these are the two cases of Daraisas of Chiyuvim. Two Bachutz outside of the Ani, two Bifnim inside of the Balabais. And now the Mishnah continues, what's the Shehein Arba? If Pash and Ani has Yadiliftim, if Ani sticks his hand inside, and instead of dropping it, Vinotal Balabais Mitoicha. So Ani's only doing half the action. He picked it up outside, he put his hand inside, but he didn't drop it. He didn't do the Hanacha, he didn't do the placement. But rather the Baal Bayis took it from his hands, or shenasan l'toicha. The Ani sticks an empty hand in, and instead of picking it up, the Baal Bayis drops it in, and he takes it out. In these cases, each of them did a half an action, shneyan piturin. They're both potter. We'll see potter aval aser, iser derabanan. Pasha Baal Bayis is yadi lachotz. In the last two cases, if the Baal Bayis stuck his hand outside, and then instead of the Baal Bayis dropping it, the Ani took from his hand. The Ani puts it in his hand and he takes it inside. So we have Shtayim Shein Arba, two Daraisas with another two Derabanans equal four cases of the Ani outside. Two Daraisas plus another two Derabanans of the Baal Bayis inside. And basically, one rule, or I should say two rules we need to know in our whole Mishnah. That's the Amud. Haitzah, carrying on Shabbos is an Issa Daraisa. When you do both halves, two parts of the malacha, which is the akira picking it up and the anacha placing it down. So if the ani, the poor person, again, just for analogy, is outside and he picks up something and he drops it inside, he did both halves. Or he stuck an empty hand inside, picked up something, pulled it out, he did both halves. The Baal Bayis in the reverse case, he's sitting inside. Either he picks up an item and drops it outside, or picks up an item from outside and pulls it in. Those are two cases of the Raisas of the Ani outside, the Raisa of the Baal Bayis inside. The Shehein Arba, the additional two cases when the Ani picks up something outside, puts his hand inside, instead of dropping it, the Baal Bayis takes it out. So they each did half an action. Or the Ani sticks his hand in, and instead of picking it up, the Baal Bayis places it in the hand, and then he pulls it out. Each one doesn't have an action. Or the Baal Bayis picks up an item, sticks the hand outside, but instead of dropping it, the Ani takes it. Or the Baal Bayis picks an empty hand outside, the Ani puts in hand, he pulls it in. In all of those cases, the Baal Bayis, the Ani, each did half an action. So Shnei and Peturin, Isser Daraisa Vaitzah, when you do both as the Akira, the uprooting, the Anacha, the placing down. Lifnim is in the house, the Baal Bayis, Bachutz is the Ani outside. If you do both halves, it's a Daraisa. If you do one half, it's only a Derabanan. Shtayim of the Baal Bayis inside, Shehein Arba of the outside, plus the extra two. Shtayim of the Ani Bachutz outside, Shehein Arba, including the two inside. Pick it up from the Gemara the next year, B'siyata Dishmaya.